So we're in section, what are we at, 3.3. So we want to know how we can prove that lines are parallel. So on this side of the graphic organizer, we don't know that the lines are parallel. We want to show that they are. We want to figure out if they are. So we're working in reverse of what we did the other day. So let's start in the upper left. It says using corresponding angles. So what we're going to write in there is, and all this, it'll seem a little repetitive, but this is how we prove that lines are parallel. If corresponding angles are congruent, then the lines are parallel. So on our picture there, on our diagram, what are our pairs of corresponding angles? Angle 1 and angle what? If you need help, you can look at the other side because it's the same. So what's the corresponding angle to angle 1? Angle 1 and 5. Corresponding means they're in the same place relative to the parallel lines and the transversal. One's inside, one's outside, same side of the transversal. So angle 1 is congruent to angle, if angle 1 is congruent to angle 5, what are other corresponding angles? Angle 2 and angle 6. Two more, angle 4 and angle 8, good. And finally, angle 3 is congruent to angle 7. If any of these are true, that guarantees us that the lines are parallel. So if we can figure out the corresponding angles are congruent, that guarantees us that the lines are parallel. So just the reverse of what we did the other day. Okay. All good with that information? All right, let's move over to the right. Consecutive interior, or same side interior. And I'll use some abbreviation here. If same side interior angles are congruent, then the lines are parallel. The upper right, consecutive interior. I just use same side interior. So that's the second way we can prove that two lines are parallel, is if same side interior angles are congruent. Same side and consecutive mean the same thing. All right, so on our diagram, which angles are, and are they congruent? Same side interior angles? Same side interior angles are what? Look on the other side of your graphic organizer. Same side interior angles are supplementary. If they're supplementary, if the same side interior angles are supplementary, then the lines are parallel. All right, so which pairs are same side interior angles? Angle 1N, is 1 an interior angle? Between the parallel lines, same side of the transversal? Angle 2 and angle 5. If measure of angle 2 plus a measure of angle 5 equals 180, And what's our same side interior angles on the other side of the transversal? Three and eight. If either of those is true, that guarantees us that the lines are parallel. All right, we good there? Okay. Let's move down to the lower left. Alternate interior angles. If alternate interior angles are congruent, then the lines are parallel. And what are our alternate interior angles there? Angle 2 and 8. And on the other side, angle 3 and angle 5. If either of those pairs of angles is congruent, then that guarantees us that the lines are parallel. So same information, we're just going the opposite direction. And then finally on the lower right, alternate exterior angles. If alternate exterior angles are congruent, then the lines are parallel. And that can go on the lower right-hand box. There are the points towards the lines. All right, and what are our alternate exterior angles there? Angle 1 and angle 7. And then on the other side, angle 4 and angle 6. If either of those two pairs of angles are congruent, then that guarantees us that the lines are parallel. And there's one that they left off the graphic organizer, so we could add it in if we want. We used consecutive interior angles. We also talked on the other side about consecutive or same side exterior angles. If same side exterior angles, so you might want to add this, if same side exterior angles are congruent, not congruent, supplementary, then the lines are parallel. And what are our pairs of same side exterior angles? Angle 1 plus measure of angle 6 needs to equal 180. And what's on the other side? 4 and 7. Measure of angle 4 plus the measure of angle 7 equals 180. That will guarantee us that those lines are parallel. Yes?
All these things have to be true.
No, any one of them, if any one of them is true, that guarantees that the lines are parallel. These are just a bunch of different ways that we can decide. And the one we use depends on the information the problem gives us. The very bottom of the graphic organizer will finish on Monday. So that's all we need on the graphic organizer. I just have a couple of questions for you, and then we will be done today. I want to look at some parallel lines and figure some things out.
Are the labels the same? Like they
Yeah. All right, so let me draw a picture here. And I'm going to call this line A, line B, line M, and line N. We don't know that they're parallel. So I'm going to say if angle 2 is congruent to angle 3, which lines are parallel and why? So looking at this picture, what's thinking about how we worked with our graphic organizer, what's going to be our transversal for this picture? Our transversal is a line that intersects two other lines. So any of them could be a transversal, right? But they're all transversals, but we're interested in angle 2 and 3. So if angles 2 and 3 are the ones we're interested in, which one's going to be our transversal? A. So let me highlight that. There's A. There's my transversal. So which lines are then related to this transversal in angle 2 and 3? Angle M and N, right? Or sorry, line M and N. So there are two lines that possibly might be parallel. If these two angles are congruent, what kind of angles are they for these two lines in this transversal? Alternate interior. They're between the lines, opposite sides of the transversal. Alternate interior angles. The alternate interior angles are congruent. Does that guarantee us that the lines are parallel? Yeah. Why? So our reason would be lines M is parallel to line N because alternate interior angles are congruent. That would be how we would justify our answer. These alternate interior angles are congruent, so our lines are parallel. And just so you know, in your book, for something like this, they say the converse of the alternate interior angle here. I'm not going to ask you guys to say converse of such and such. All you need to tell me is because alternate interior angles are congruent. That's fine. Or you could even shorthand it and say alternate interior angles. That's enough information. All right. Questions on that example? Anybody good with that one? Thank you. One last question. We're going to do an activity today, and it will be similar to this question. All right, so that's x plus 5 and 2x plus 3. And the question is, what value of x makes the lines parallel? So that's our question. What value of x would make those lines parallel? So first off, we need to decide what kind of angles we have. So what are these? Same side, interior. What has to be true about same side interior angles for the lines to be parallel? They have to be supplementary, which means they add to 180. So how am I going to write that they add to 180? X plus 5 plus, good, 2x plus 3 equals 180. And now we'll let us find x. So let's find x. Combine like terms, so we get 3x plus 8 equals 180. Subtract 8. So 3x equals 172. And we divide by 3. And x equals 57.33. Close enough. So if x equals 57.33, those two add to 180, and that makes the lines parallel. So our activity that we're going to work on today will have to do with problems like this. All right, questions? not really new information, we're just kind of working in a different direction. All right. I'll put the homework up.